Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Bon après-midi, tout le monde, et bienvenue. My name is Mark Butler, and I am the Director of Communications for Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority. I'd like to begin this announcement by honoring the land on which I am on and the land where the Gordie Howe International Bridge project is being constructed, which sits on the Anishinaabe territory. The Anishinaabe in the Windsor area are known as the Three Fire Confederacy, which consists of the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. This land has also served as a place of refuge for the Huron-Wyandot people. So on behalf of Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority and our private sector partner, Bridging North America, I'd like to thank you for joining us today at yet another announcement regarding the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. This afternoon, we are pleased to announce the recipients of the Community Organization Investment.
Anthony Benavides.
A $100,000 initiative that is part of the
is now joining
benefits plan. We have a total of 6 speakers this afternoon. The first 2 will provide a brief update on some of the progress made to date for this once-in-a-generation project. You'll also hear from a number of representatives, including members from community groups in Windsor and Detroit, who will support the project team in announcing the recipient organizations of the second annual funding release from the Community Organization Investment Initiative. The information that will be presented during this announcement has been sent to you electronically and will also be posted on the project website following the event. Now, following the presentation, we will allow media an opportunity to ask questions. So at this time, if you have not muted your microphone, we ask that you do so, and please stay muted until the question and answer period, where I'll provide further instructions. And without further ado, here is our Chief Executive Officer for Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, Bryce Phillips.
Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. It's been well over a year now since we shifted to a virtual environment, and this is the new way of working. We appreciate your continued interest and participation in the project. WDBA staff continue to work from home with a small number attending the sites as needed for the roles, and we reduced new ways to keep our staff connected. B&A has supported its team in various ways, and this collective effort has allowed the project to continue to move forward. Most importantly, though, people are working safely, whether it's from their home or from the site. While we remain unable to host a tour of the construction sites, we have been posting regular drone footage and gallery images to the project website that demonstrate the extensive work underway on all 4 components of the project. We look forward to hosting you on site and in person in the future when that's possible. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Michael Hatchell from Bridging North America, and he will brief you on some of the highlights of their work shortly. Michael is no stranger to the Windsor community, and was project director overseeing the construction of the Right Honorable Herb Gray Parkway just a few years ago. So welcome back to Windsor, Michael. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, I'm confident that with our leadership together, we will continue to make great strides in the delivery of this once-in-a-lifetime project. As you know, our work extends beyond the physical infrastructure that we are building for the Gordie Howe International Bridge and includes several project initiatives that reflect local priorities and feedback that we have heard through the ongoing collaboration with community members. The Community Organization Investment is just one example of this commitment. It provides meaningful local benefits that we hope can be leveraged for years to come. I would like to thank the WDBA and B&A staff that are doing exceptional work on the project, the communities on both sides of the border for their ongoing support and input, and the media who continue to help us keep the public informed. So again, thank you for joining us today. I would be happy to answer questions you may have during the Q&A session to be held shortly. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Bryce. I would now like to introduce Michael Hatchell, Chief Executive Officer for Bridging North America. Michael?
First off, thank you, Mark and Bryce. It's good to be back in the Windsor area. I was involved with the Herb Gray Parkway and they've been able to see that project get finished, and now I'm back to try to help some here as much as I can. And it's a good team. From everything I've seen, we've got some excellent people here working on the project. What I wanted to go through today was just a quick construction update, and I'll go ahead and go through that. There are 4 areas of construction that Mark and Bryce talked about briefly. You've got the point of entries for Canada and the US. You had the Michigan interchange is the 3rd area, and the 4th is the bridge with its approaches. So those are the 4 areas that we have construction ongoing, and this construction happening in each of those areas. Let's start with the Canadian port of entry. The main building has commenced. We're working on the foundations for the main building on the Canadian POE, and the energy and maintenance foundations are near complete. If you actually saw some photos that drove by this month, we started putting the walls up on the energy maintenance facility. So it's starting to really look like a building now. And some of the new photos you start seeing, it'll be more obvious and you'll be able to see that. So that's what's happening on the Canadian POE side. If we go over to the US point of entry, there we're primarily still working with the surcharge areas with wick drains. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with what a wick drain is. We've had some challenges with the soils, and you need to get the settlement out of the soils now. So when you put the buildings on, they don't crack. So you put a big mound of dirt on top of the ground, and you put a wick drain in the ground. A wick drain is nothing but like a sock that you put about 30 or 40 feet in the ground. And when you put the weight on top, it pushes the water out and compresses the material. So by doing that over a few months period of time, 6 months to a year period of time, it removes that moisture and does away with the settlement, so you can build a foundation that won't crack into the future, since we want to be here for 100+ years. So that's what's happening with the point of entry on the US side is primarily that. We've removed the surcharge in the first area, areas 3 and 4. We're tentatively to remove those in the first part of July. And areas 2, we will get to that. We're waiting for confirmation when we can remove that wick drain. With that, then we'll start the foundations and the construction of the buildings for the POEs. So that's 2 areas of construction. The third, let's say, is a Michigan interchange. And if you have drive on long I-75, you've probably been impacted by that already. We've done a lot of work on the foundations for the bridges that are going to be crossing I-75. And this month, we're looking to try to place a number of girders across I-75. So you'll see a lot of changes happening there also in the very near future. So it's starting to come together. And then the signature part of the project is the bridge, of course. And if you've sort of driven by, you've probably seen the towers starting to go up on both sides. And you've got the 2 legs of the tower for each side, so 4 legs total. We've gone up about 120 feet above the ground, so 120, 140 feet above the ground at this point. And we're building that piece by piece, segment by segment. The first 8+ segments were all hollow, and then we're putting in 3 solid segments, which is at the area where the deck is actually going to be. Then we'll go back to hollow segments to finish up the towers. So that's been a big focus right now on the Canadian for the bridge.
Is now
portion.
joining.
And that's on both sides. If you look at it, they stay pretty much about even from an elevation standpoint. We'll be pouring some this week actually on the Canadian side. So we'll go a little bit higher there. We've also done some work on the backspans and the foundations for the backspans, put in some of the foundations. The anchor span is a 10-foot or 3-meter diameter shaft that goes down 80+ feet to support the structure. So it's a lot happening from a bridge standpoint. You're going to see more and more now that the weather's starting to turn, and now that COVID is starting to get a little bit more under control. You'll see more happening in the field from a construction standpoint. So that's a quick update or overview of what's happening for construction. And if you have some questions later, I'll try to answer them. Turn it back over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Michael. I'd now like to introduce Heather Grondin, WDBA's Vice President of Corporate Affairs and External Relations.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Today, we've reached another exciting milestone in the delivery of the Gordie Howe International Bridge Community Benefits Plan. We announced the Community Benefits Plan just 2 years ago on June 14th, 2019. And since then, WDBA, Bridging North America, and our project partners have made significant progress in implementing the two components of the plan, the Neighborhood Infrastructure Strategy and the Workforce Development and Participation Strategy. The Community Organization Investment Initiative that we're here celebrating today is an annual $100,000 allowance divided equally between Canada and the US. It's made available to nonprofit and charitable organizations to make investments in events, programming, or infrastructure improvements that will directly benefit the host communities for the project, which are Sandwich, West Windsor, and Delray, Southwest Detroit. This is the second year of this initiative, and funding will continue through an annual application process until 2024. The successful recipients of the community organization investment will be announced shortly, along with remarks from two of those organizations. But first, I'm going to do a little bit of a step back and walk you through the selection process. The call for applications ran from November 2020 until January 2021, and this year we received 30 eligible applications. Applications underwent a rigorous evaluation, which included review by our local community group members to share recommendations for funding, which went to senior representatives from the project team. The local community group is a committee of 16 stakeholders representing residents, businesses, organizations, and Indigenous peoples from the Windsor-Detroit region. Randall Sasso from the local community group has joined us today, and you'll hear from him shortly. On behalf of the project team, I want to thank Randall and all of the members of the local community group for their commitment, their time, their participation, and the feedback that they continue to give. This group's input is incredibly important and vital to the successful delivery of the Community Benefits Plan. The project team appreciates the significant efforts of the local community group as they undertook the detailed review of all of the applications that we received this year. As a result of the group's review and recommendations, 8 exciting and versatile projects were identified in 2021 that align with the community benefits priority areas. Funding will be released to the selected partners in July of 2021, with the projects to be completed by July 2022. So with that, we can move forward with the announcement. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully that's worked. So I'm pleased to announce the following Canadian projects will benefit from this year's $50,000 investment. The Essex County Black Historical Research Society will receive $25,000 to engage post-secondary students to create 3 short films on significant aspects of Sandwich's history. Border City Athletics Club will receive $10,000 to host a virtual conference aimed at empowering Black, Indigenous, and people of color women from Sandwich, West Windsor in coaching, mentorship, and leadership in sports. John McGivney Children's Center will receive $8,400 to construct an accessible ramp that will improve public access to their accessible playground at the John McGivney Center in Sandwich. And Windsor Police Services Community Service Branch, in partnership with New Beginnings, will receive $6,600 to host the Sandwich Community Diversity Barbecue, a free event that will celebrate diversity in the Sandwich community. Moving over to the U.S. projects that will benefit from the $50,000 investment, these include First Latin American Baptist Church of Detroit will receive $25,000 to support renovations for its Community Recreation Service Center. The improvements will focus on improvements to the gym and the restrooms. The Detroit Hispanic Development Corporation will receive $17,000 to provide critical community programming to residents in Delray. Unity in our community time bank will receive $5,000 to hold a series of outdoor events that will encourage outdoor exploration and bring awareness to the available assets for physical activity in the Southwest Detroit community. And Clark Park Coalition will receive $3,000 to host the 2022 Winter Carnival that will engage youth and families across Southwest Detroit. On behalf of the project team, we would like to congratulate all recipients of the 2021 Community Organization Investment Funding. We look forward to witnessing the positive outcomes that each project will have on their respective community. We will continue to keep the public informed on the outcomes and positive progress on these projects through our ongoing reporting that we do each quarter on the progress being made on the Community Benefits Plan. With that, I would like to welcome Randall Sasso, a representative from the local community group, to say a few words and to introduce some of the recipients. Randall, over to you.
Thank you, Heather. The Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority and Bridging North America continue to fulfill their promise as an active and caring neighbor and partner with the communities of Delray and Sandwichtown and the soon-to-be connected majestic Gordie Howe International Bridge. Today, we acknowledge and celebrate a significant example of this partnership by announcing the 2021 recipients of the Community Benefits Funding dedicated to preserving and enhancing the vitality of community life on both sides of the Detroit River. These selected projects honor historic community roots and encourage modern community growth by assisting new infrastructure that inform local programming and promote and enhance community group activities. I'm pleased to introduce the representatives from 2 of the 8 organizations that will be receiving Community Organization Investment Funding to share their remarks. We begin with the Essex County Black Historical Research Society, one of the 4 Canadian organizations receiving funding. Their dedication and expertise brings together individuals interested in the research, preservation, promotion, and advancement of Black African Canadian history in the Windsor-Essex County area. Their ambitious project is entitled Across the River to Freedom, Early Black History in Sandwich, Ontario. And I'm pleased to introduce our presenter, Chantel Browning-Morgan, who is a leading research scholar, teacher, and recipient of the Canadian Governor-General's History Award for Excellence in Teaching. She's a board member of the Essex County Black Historical Research Society, and she will share with us her enthusiasm and the goals for this essential Black historical project in our community. Please join me in welcoming Chantel Browning-Morgan.
Thank you, Randall, for that lovely introduction. I am honored to be here today. I would like to thank the Gordie Howe Bridge Authority Community Organization Investment Initiative for making the documentary Across the River to Freedom, Early Black History in Sandwich, Ontario, a reality. On behalf of the Research Society here in Windsor, we are thrilled and we are grateful. This funding will allow us to create 3 interrelated yet standalone short films that convey 3 significant and engaging aspects of early Sandwich history. The first film will be about Henry and Mary Bibb. They were established abolitionists in the United States before they moved to Sandwich in 1850. Henry, formerly enslaved in Kentucky, had written an autobiography in 1849 that raised public awareness of the horrors of slavery. Soon after their arrival in Sandwich, the Bibbs opened a school for Black children, started a newspaper, The Voice of the Fugitive, engaged in community organizing, and provided settlement services and housing to Underground Railroad refugees. The Bibbs left a remarkable legacy here in Canada. The second film will be about Caroline Quarles, an enslaved teenage girl who made the courageous decision in 1843 to set out alone on an Underground Railroad journey that would take her from Missouri to Sandwich, Canada West. Generations later, her harrowing experience remains the subject of awe and study. Once safe and free in Sandwich, she met and married Alan Watkins, a formerly enslaved man, who also made a perilous escape with his children from Kentucky to Sandwich in 1838. Together, they founded the Watkins Clan of Sandwich, where descendants remain on the original homestead today. The third film will be about Thornton and Lucy Blackburn, who are recognized as persons of national historic significance here in Canada. They were once enslaved in Kentucky. They made their way to Detroit, where eventually they were apprehended and jailed under the threat of return to slavery. Community members' attempts to free them, most notably through the Blackburn riots of 1833, which were also Detroit's first recorded race riots, resulted in their flight to Canada, but it also led to an extradition request. Jailed in Sandwich, Thornton petitioned the Upper Canadian colonial authorities, and their response to the Blackburns' plight set a precedent that allowed thousands of subsequent freedom seekers, if not generations of refugees, to remain safely in Canada. The three films will be made by Anushree Singh under the guidance of Irene Moore Davis and Heidi Jacobs. There will be continuity between all three films with the original film, The North Was Our Canaan, which was released in 2020. In addition to the three films, this very generous funding will allow us to fulfill our other four objectives, which include lesson plans on a companion website and portal, a digital walking tour of Sandwich Town, and sharing our history with current generations, but preserving it for the future generations as well. So all material that is generated by this project will be preserved according to the most current digital and archival preservation standards. The funding will also allow for career development opportunities for students and recent Windsor graduates in the areas of history, film, culture, library, and information science. We will be accessing local students and recent graduates as filmmakers, film crew, and research assistants. Lastly, we will be hosting a public launch of the films and the website. Members of the community will be invited to attend and will be able to see the films and meet the filmmaker and the interviewees. We will also be arranging for a number of themed Black History walking tours of Sandwich, led by volunteers from the Essex County Black Historical Research Society and Sandwich First Baptist Church. The tours will be based on the content in the three short films. This generous grant will allow us to bring these deliverables to students, teachers, and the general public in Windsor, Detroit, and beyond. Again, on behalf of the Essex County Black Historical Research Society, thank you for funding this initiative. By bringing this history to life, local residents in Windsor and residents of Michigan and beyond will be encouraged to visit Sandwich, either in person or virtually, to learn about the community's history. Learning about this history leads to more knowledgeable citizenry and a more engaged community committed to further exploring and preserving this vital neighborhood and its history. Thank you so much.
Chantel, thank you so much. I wish I weren't a retired teacher at this point, because this sounds like such an exciting project, and I know with your background and the background of so many people in our community, this your leadership will very much be, well, we're really grateful for it. So can't wait to see that project.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Pastor Kevin Casillas, representing the First Latin American Baptist Church, one of the 4 organizations in the United States receiving community organization investment funding for the Community Recreation Service Center. That sounds really exciting to hear about. The First Latin American Baptist Church is an important faith community in Southwest Detroit. The church held services from 1967 until 2018 in the Del Rey community, and then in 2018, the church was relocated and the congregation moved to a new donated church near Clark Park in the heart of Southwest Detroit. Pastor Casillas has served as the pastor of the church since 2009 and wears many hats in the Southwest Detroit community. He teaches Spanish at Cass Tech High School and has participated in the Southwest Detroit Community Benefits Coalition since its inception, and that includes serving as its president for the past several years. As Pastor Casillas joins us this afternoon, we look forward to hearing him share more about their project and also the recreational benefits for the residents of Southwest Detroit. So please welcome Pastor Casillas.
Thank you so much, Randall, and it is a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Very grateful for your work, WDBA and Bridging North America, and your commitment to not just place an infrastructure in people's backyard, but also to care about and to respect, as you mentioned earlier, the territory that we stand on, its history, its legacy, as well as its current residents. And we are so grateful that as a part of your package, you have included a community benefits plan. It's something that the community has been advocating for since its inception, as you know, and we know that you are eager to put this into effect. And as a congregation, First Latin American Baptist Church, we as well are grateful that we have the opportunity to receive some of those benefits with our current project of the Community Recreational Center. As was mentioned, we were relocated because of the bridge project, and we moved to a location in the heart of Southwest Detroit on Scotton near Verner Highway. And our intention and our goal in all this move was to have an equivalent facility to what we had on 4th Street. And so we quickly began to renovate the donated facility that Shiloh Free Will Baptist Church donated to us, and we were able to renovate the sanctuary. But our goal was to also have a gymnasium, a recreational center like we had on 4th Street, a community space for the young people and children, and for various needs of our neighbors. And so we began the project, but because of COVID-related delays and increase in cost, things got a little tight with the budget, and these funds that you provide will help us complete the Community Recreational Center and actually open its doors this fall. And once you enter, you'll be able to see a community space where young people and children and adults can play indoor basketball, indoor volleyball, have events like quinceañeras, have community meetings. And we are thrilled to be able to be sped along in this desire to provide a community space for our neighbors and to help us in our mission as a church to complete that mission. And so we, again, want to thank WDBA and North America, Bridging North America. The actual space is a 4,600 square foot area, and I think that's about 1,400 square meters, if I did the math right. Again, once you walk in, it's a big area. It's very hard to miss as you drive down Scotton, and we look forward to inviting many of you back to our inauguration this fall and see these funds put to use, and the young people and the adults playing the basketball, enjoying time together as a community. Again, thank you. If you have any questions about it, I'll be glad to take those questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Randall, Chantel, and Pastor Casillas. Organizations interested in applying for the 2022 funding cycle should stay tuned for the next open call for applications, which will occur in November of this year. To stay up to date on the project and on the community benefits plan, I encourage you to visit GordieHoweInternationalBridge.com and follow us on our various social media channels. The project team is holding our next virtual quarterly community meeting on Tuesday, June 22nd at 3 p.m. And this will be available through our project Facebook page. We'll share some additional project updates and provide some more updates on the community benefits plan there as well.